Facebook has fact checked me, so you know
Oh
it's going
yeah,
to be a
that's
very interesting podcast.
oddly enough, Facebook fat checked me today.
Yeah,
No,
Would you say
no,
fact
no.
checked you?
It you got fact checked.
I got fact
I
checked.
I got fat checked. It was like
You
you were a
got
little
fat
too.
checked?
Yeah, it was like you were a little too chubby in this last photo. Like consider. Yeah, I was like, all right. I mean, like, I don't know if it's Zuckerberg himself doing that to me, what the deal is, but yeah, that
Well,
was interesting. It really makes you humble.
it makes you humble, and we're going to talk more about it. It's Monday. I'm Ryan.
I'm Richard.
Here
I'm
we
sorry.
go.
I'm feeling.
The Oppenheimer Projects.
Damn it, Richard, you know I'm going for consistency. You know I paid for a British woman to do the voiceover. I have to hit the intro. No, I'm just kidding.
No, you have to. Yeah.
What's going on, everybody? It's Monday, and it's just so many things have happened in the last week. I mean, it's like a chain reaction of things, but that seems to be the normal these days, right? You can't just do one thing without suddenly it's political, then it's racial, then it's Dubai, then it's this, that, and the other thing. So we're just going to dive right into it. We're going to hit the numbers, and then the itinerary. We'll take it from there. I'll let Richard take let Richard take the lead. As you can see, too much Red Bull. So real quick. Now, Richard, before we get started,
Yeah. Sure.
the movies, all right? We do the box office, and we'll just say it. Lots of controversy right there this past week, right?
Lots of controversy. Yeah. With the movies, and again, I'm looking at the movies going, like, how much of this is this going to be the new thing?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So we're gonna find out. I don't want to say I hope it isn't the real thing, but also let's get this figured out sooner than later. So the news is I usually make up a little sheet for my news and have a bunch of bullet points, and this week it's just the top 5 movies and a couple little talking points because there's a lot to talk about, and just kind of like, oh, this show might come out. Didn't feel like wasting our time with that, but I will waste our time with the top 5 movies because it plays a big role in our main topic of the night. Jungle Cruise was number 1 with 34 million. And, I'm sure if I look back over the years, 34 million for a weekend is not amazing. 3 years ago, it would have gone, Jungle Cruise is a huge failure. And Disney did not release any sort of streaming money, oddly enough, this weekend. They did not say what Jungle Cruise did in streaming. As we are all too well aware, and if you go back and look at, Ryan had a couple great podcasts last week where he talked more about the Delta variant and vaccines and mask mandates and everything. I can see now more people not going to the movie theater. So this I don't know if this is a reflection of, mask mandates coming back to major cities and some businesses and movie theaters having to kind of curtail, or people being nervous about sitting inside of a movie theater. But Jungle Cruise only made 34 million. The Green Knight, which I think if we walked into random people on the street and we'd be like, what's the Green Knight? They probably wouldn't be able to tell us. Made about, and again, I've never had to do this before. It made 6,784,000. Old came in third, making 6,776,000. And Black Widow came in fourth, making 6,426,000. So, that's a couple tickets dividing first, second, third, and fourth. And then Stillwater, our boy Mark Damon's movie. I wrote down Mark Damon. If for some reason, I really did. Mark Damon is one of my bosses at work. Matt Damon, Stillwater came in at 5,424,000. As always, go back and check the Oppenheimer Project's Facebook page if you did not see it. Stillwater made the news first because Maddie was running his mouth. I'll talk about that next. But secondly, because Amanda Knox, who is a person, until you reminded us by posting this story, Amanda Knox went out of my head as to who she was. But for those of you who are into this, Amanda was I think because she was a cute girl. She was living in Italy for a couple years, was accused of killing her roommate, was in prison for 4 years, and then eventually it was proven that it was not her, that it was someone else. And so Stillwater is a movie about an American dad who goes to Italy and tries to get his daughter. It's a very Amanda Knox type story. So Amanda was complaining that, is her, how did you put it, Ryan? Like,
Yeah,
is her...
I felt so compelled to do it because listen, Richard and I we're gonna take off the gloves a little bit. We're gonna turn up the heat because it makes sense, right, Richard? So with that being said, I felt she's saying that it says it right there. Does my name not belong to me? Does my face not belong to me? No one in the movie is named Amanda. I don't believe their last name is Knox. And I believe they actually made it a point to say loosely based off of. So here we go again. Like, are we trying to get Stillwater canceled? Like, what is your purpose here? Nobody says Amanda. Now, I don't
I'm
know
sure she just wants her payday. I'm not,
Right,
and again, I am,
I was just about to say that, yeah. And she could. I was about to say maybe she's going the Scarlet route, but like as you were saying, I'm sorry.
So Stillwater 5th place. So again, we have our top 5 movies that all together don't make what Black Widow and Fast and Furious made in their opening weekends. So, but again, we do not know. We do not know. We won't know until a couple of years. And again, as we are often fond of saying here on the Ryan Mercer Show with Richard Masso, here's a good podcast idea. But a podcast idea that I know we will be doing within the next year is, has entertainment changed? Have movies changed? And a lot of what happens over the next few weeks with the Scarlett Johansson and Emma Stone and everyone else who kind of puts their head together here and thinks about it for a second.
Gerard Butler too now. Apparently.
Gerard Butler now, yes, which I totally missed that one. So, so we did, as I said earlier, Matt Damon was in the news. He was in the news for 2 main things. One was he was kind of attributed in a news article. A news article wound up making some Twitter news. I always think that's funny. These people, that's their dream. You want to get noticed, and you used to do it by selling newspapers. Now you do it by someone finding your article and sharing it a million times on Twitter, on Facebook. And the person writing this opinion piece based on a conversation with Matt Damon. I have not heard Mark Damon's opinion on this. I should have signed him up this would have been a perfect time to have Mark Damon on as a guest. But Matt Damon kind of alluded to the idea of superhero movies, and maybe it's not as important who the actor is, which I found interesting because his best bud plays Batman, so I found that interesting. But the author of the piece throws out there that Iron Man could have been played by anyone.
Yeah, right. Cool.
And right, and again, it is the idea here is, it's the ultimate bait. Clickbait.
Yeah,
it's the ultimate. It's the ultimate clickbait. I believe there are roles in this world that could be played by anyone. Sorry, I'm literally speechless because of my little stutter. But go ahead.
No, but you and I always say that. And listen, if we're being fair, Richard's Marvel, I'm DC, but we always say we think it's very important to note that Marvel's success. There's so many, moving pieces, but the casting is one of them. They got it so right. I was watching that movie, the Losers on Netflix last night.
Mm-hmm.
I'd never seen it before, and we have what's his name? He's
Chris
Thomas
Evans.
Wayne. Well, in the lead.
Oh, I don't know.
Walking Dead. He's the guy with the bat. Why can't I think of it?
Oh yeah, sure. Negan. Thomas Wayne Negan. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Of course, we all know that actor's name.
We can't think of his name.
Come on, somebody who knows that actor's name.
But Chris Evans was stealing the show. Like some guys are just lead guy material. Some girls are just lead girl material. And listen, it's not that he doesn't. It's going to drive me absolutely.
Yeah, I'm going to Google it right now. So you just
But some people just have that X factor, and Marvel just nailed it. Robert Downey absolutely has that
Yeah.
X factor.
You
He
know who else
nailed it.
does? Jeffrey Dean Morgan. He
Jeffrey
plays
Dean
Negan.
Morgan,
Yeah,
yes.
he has.
We
But again,
apologize, everybody.
Jeffrey Dean
Everybody
Morgan.
just signed off.
Yeah, Jeffrey Dean Morgan is. But he has that. His role in Watchmen. Like, yeah, whatever he does, he has that. Michael Rooker as in Guardians. Michael Rooker and you have those actors that are really good, but you know what? Let's do this. Journalist who wrote this article, Terrence Howard played James Rhodes' War Machine in the first movie.
Mm-hmm.
Don Cheadle played him in the next 6 movies.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a huge difference between the two of them based on their acting ability.
Yeah,
Like
100%.
right, Terrence Howard has a swagger to him, but he was not in it for the long. Like Don Cheadle makes you forget Terrence Howard was in that first movie.
And let's be honest, to that point, we're just going to say good catch, right? We don't like to see characters being shifted. Nobody does. But it was a good catch. Don Cheadle carried it the rest of the way. And listen, is Don Cheadle lead
Don
man
Cheadle.
material? As Cheadle,
Yeah.
has he been lead guy
I
material?
mean, yeah, but he had a really great he had a really great Showtime show where he was an agent. Yeah, I think he is. I just don't think but I don't think they've given him. They haven't given it to him yet. And he,
and nothing against Jeffrey Dean Morgan or
no, but Jeffrey Dean Morgan is one of the like J.K. Simmons.
Oh yeah.
Like he's not the the box office. Like Leo's the box office, Brad's the box office.
Jason Isaacs, I love Jason Isaacs. He's not lead guy, I don't think, but definitely
Oscar
guy.
Isaacs
is it Jason Isaacs?
I don't know.
The guy who's going to play Alfred.
Poe Dameron? Oh, I don't know who
No.
Oh, who's Jason Isaacs?
Hold on. Let's get this real quick.
Have you ever seen the 2011 film called 10 Years?
Wait. Here we go. Richard's going to be like, Richard. Here we go. Richard's going to be like, I messed this up.
Jason Isaacs, yep. All right.
But not really lead.
No. But right. Yeah. Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I didn't realize he was going to be Alfred. That's really good casting.
Yeah, in that podcast thing with what's his name from Black Panther. We're messing up the names here. We have it. We promised everybody. But the podcast show that's coming from DC, without going off on a whole different topic, very cool.
We absolutely need to rebrand ourselves to Two Guys Who Don't Remember Names podcast with Ryan and Richard, and we just go there. So,
well, we had other intentions. We just went off on other stories as they. Oh wait, Winston Duke.
Duke.
So Winston Duke is going to be Bruce Wayne Batman, and Jason Isaacs is going to be Alfred. Awesome, I think. Great choice for both characters. But yeah, pretty cool, right? Podcast, TV show.
Okay.
Yes, and Grayson, of course, the Patriot.
What a neat example of social media was the Winston Duke is going to voice Batman announcement this week. To just literally, you just post it, Winston Duke to be new Batman. And just bam, Batman's not black. Like dude's too swole to be like, and again, the person who was trying not to be racist was like, yeah, dude's too big to be bad. I don't think he's got the right, so
it's like save it. Just stop right there.
Right. Like you did not read the article. Like, and again, I 100% saw the tweet go Winston Duke to be new Batman and went, I need to click on the article, because again, but it's also irresponsible. It's also, I do think it's a little irresponsible of these clickbait people who know they need clicks to get advertising and, just write, Winston Duke to voice Batman, which is still pissed off racist people that Winston Duke was going to, somehow but it is, that was interesting.
And real quick, if I could just say, and Richard, if I ever go, well, let me just say it real quick. I make it a point, if you follow us on the Oppenheimer Project's Facebook page, if you don't follow us, like it, but if you do, I really make it a point to get the juice out, right? I don't like that clickbait stuff.
Yeah, you
so
spend
then let me know.
because actually yeah, because you always will write 3 sentences above the article. You'll kind of explain it. So I kind of like that because I'm not I don't want to click on every article, but I want to know what's happening. And
Yeah.
so very cool to see Winston Duke coming out. And again, like you could see reading those comments of the articles, like, oh, like he would be great playing Manape, and it was like, well, he already plays that actor, like really, like where you're just trying, you thought you were making, like, it was just ridiculous. I am Ryan is a little too young for this, but for those of us over 40 or plus, there was a great TV show called Spencer for Hire. And it is my absolute favorite series about a detective from Boston and he has a best friend who helps him fight crime, solve crime, do things, called Hawk. And they made a Mark Wahlberg and Winston Duke played this character Hawk, and I was so excited. Unfortunately, the movie was not good.
That's what Spencer is. Okay.
Yeah,
that
was not good. It was a huge disappointment, which I really, because Winston Duke I was so psyched when I saw that, but they took the material and they went their own way. So, in further Matt Damon news this week, in an article, again, this always happens. They make these actors do press, for these movies, and they always wind up right. Matt Damon is as experienced as it gets doing this stuff, and he admitted that he has just recently stopped saying the F word, FAG word, and it's like, I'm just kind of laughing because I would have thought he was a little more evolved than that, and like I'm not perfect. I got rid of that word a while ago.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, again, and
it was never malicious, right? It was never malicious.
It was never malicious, but what it takes is someone going, yeah, I know that you're trying to say you and your buddy are just joking, but dude, that's horrible. And then you know what happened? I went, oh yeah, I don't need to. Yeah, I don't need to have. I don't need to be an idiot here.
You know who nailed that, if I may, real quick, or nailed that whole aspect, that whole growing up thing? Seth Rogen made the comment, if you made a joke that is now distasteful, just own up and move on, right? And that's what we're all doing. And we like we said, it was never malicious. We said it with our friends, whatever. Eminem was huge when I was growing up, and I've removed it, and I'm moving on. I'm not.
Yeah, it is one of those things that I'm happy for some evolution, and again, Seth Rogen is the perfect example. 40-year-old version, a phenomenal scene of Seth Rogen and Paul Rudd playing video games and going, how I know you're gay? Because you like Coldplay. I know you're gay because you eat your tacos with, like, and again,
like Asia.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. And again, for years I would do that. I'd be like, oh, hey, like, and then he's just like, you know what? No, because unless you're not saying it as a compliment, it's like sex. Yeah. It's like when you call someone the P word, like, oh, you're a P, like, yeah, no, again, the R word, all these words that, like, some PC police. No, because you know what? Like, it's just easier not to say it. Like, my life is not ruined because when you make a mistake, I suddenly can't be like, oh, you're being R word. Like, no, I could just say, hey, you made a mistake, or hey, I'm annoyed at you. Like, so, but again, just a little surprised that it took Matt Damon a little bit long, but again, this is what. Yeah, this is one of those. I think he was probably trying to be like I could see you doing in a couple of years. Like, yeah, I used to always say this, and then talking to Alexis, and she was kind of telling me I was wrong, and and you'd be like, wait, you were still smoking cigars in the backyard at 32, like, all right,
with your twins running around. Looking back, like, I'm not sure that was a great idea.
Right? Did you not know? And those cigars were Cuban, and Cubans, there's a whole way to get you. So yeah. Let's go talk about the Joker. And for the first time on this podcast, we are not talking about the Batman nemesis, but Djokovic, the top-rated tennis player in the world who was working his way to a really unique goal of winning every major tournament plus a gold medal. And earlier in the week, when Simone Biles quit, that's on me. When Simone Biles withdrew.
And we're signing off. Canceled.
Yes. When Simone Biles withdrew from the competition, when Nadal, when I keep calling him Nadal, when Djokovic was asked about it, he said, "Hey, to be a champion, sometimes you have to do the tough stuff, and you got to, basically just, hey, to be the best, you got to go out there and put up with this crap and get out there." And then Novak lost his semifinal game and threw a fit and threw his racket into the empty stands, which if he had thrown it into a full, and then he lost his mixed doubles. He lost his mixed doubles game and freaked out and refused to play in the bronze. Like he refused, quit.
That's weird.
Yeah, right.
That's weird. That's weird, Novak.
Yeah, and again, this is what Ryan got fact checked on today, because there was a meme going around kind of pointing out what he said and then pointing out how he reacted. And the fact checking was kind of saying, "Oh, he never said that to her." Yes, that's correct. He never said that to her. He's never spoken to her. Right, he said it about her. He said that, and then so we went and fact checked the fact check. So thankfully, San Francisco Chronicle had.
I know. Thank you.
Had the keep Ryan out of Facebook police, but just the audacity here, and a lot of what we're going to continue to talk about today is snap judgments. And
I just need to say this real quick. I'm sorry, because I know people are probably like, well, Ryan and Richard always talk about perspective and being. We are not trying to bully anybody here, right? But this is something that it's like it goes back to the stigma. Like, did Novak have to speak to it? Did you have to speak to it in that manner, right? I think it would have been more professional to just either not talk about it or maybe just be like, it is what it is. That's my opinion. But then you said it, and then you acted up like this, and that's what we're pointing out, right? We're not like trashing the guy. He's a tremendous athlete, but like, come on, like you make that comment towards Biles, and then this is what happens. We're calling you out on it. That's all.
But somewhere there is a person who's looking at his meltdowns and saying, "Oh, I don't see a meltdown. I see a champion who was angry he didn't win, and look at that passion." Like, that's their response. Where, a young lady who's redefined the sport realized, "Oh, when I go into the air, I'm losing it. I could get hurt because my mind is out of this." Like,
right.
And I know you talked about this last week, but it's just, listen, it is tough. And yes, there is a young lady who is sitting at home right now who could have gone instead of but that's what life is. Like, the Philadelphia Eagles traded Carson Wentz, and all he has to do is start 75% of his games, and we get a first-round draft pick. He broke his foot and is out of football for the next 3 months. He can't play, that's just what happens. Like, the Eagles don't get to go back and go, "Oh, well, we should have said,
so bad, no, it's so sad.
People get hurt, people get injured. Like, life is what it is. I'm going to talk in a few minutes about the comic book show we did this weekend. But you sit there and you go, "Oh, look at this! I've got Batman 1 through 5 on my wall. How cool is this?" And they're $20 each. Man, all right. And crowd walks in, they walk right by your booth. And they walk over there and you can see them, and they're like, "Oh, you got Batman for $40? Give it to me." Like, no, wait, and all we can do is go, "Oh, hopefully someone will," you can't. And that's, I don't know if that anyway, that story ties into what I'm saying, other than
it's life. It's
life.
You can't control certain things.
It's life. Right. If we didn't have Batman, it's just what it is. You can't make every customer go to every booth before you make your decision. Like,
the guy at the beginning is like, "We kindly ask that you check by every booth to show respect to the vendors who have joined us this weekend."
No. Because no matter what, it is what it is. And so, that being said, I came up with a concept this weekend inspired by Djokovic. I'm going to need some financial backing. So if anyone's listening is a huge financial backer, I don't know how successful it could be, but again, your mom, I think, could get behind. She would very much get behind the mission statement of this. I want to make a social media platform, and the idea here is, I don't have a catchy name for it yet. It's like walk a mile in someone else's shoes. The golden rule: treat someone as you want to be treated yourself. Like, don't throw stones at glass houses. And the idea being that you put up a picture of your food. You show you smoking a cigar in the backyard, like, because that's a reality. You put up a picture of you smoking a cigar, with the idea being like, life is good. I love my wife. I love my kids. I'm smoking a stogie in the backyard. Like, that's what you're going for. Like, this is it. This is but somewhere, someone's going, oh, he's smoking in the backyard, and there's
kids are running around
right,
him.
I'm laughing because you all the time will, when you share a funny video, you will write, no one was hurt in this, or
I feel like I have to totally,
right, like, or trust me, because someone will be like, well, why did you let the kids do that? Like, why are you letting the kids jump on the couch? Like just like, let me share what I want to share, and it is, every town Facebook page could benefit from this. And the idea here is, hey, I'm going to go see Justin Bieber next week. Ryan doesn't care for Justin Bieber's music. Ryan's got two choices: don't comment, or don't comment, or don't comment,
or hey, man, have fun because you're out there enjoying life. You know what I mean?
Right,
I like it.
Yeah, like, have fun. Yeah, like, and again, if you want to tell me your opinion should be, hey, man, have fun. I just never got into his music, but have a good time. Like, you never got into his music, which again, unfortunately, if I go on Twitter today and say I'm going to Justin Bieber's concert, I'm going to get all those words we don't like he's an F word, and he's a, like, oh, why would you like, and the idea here is,
he's
right, like,
with Conor McGregor.
Yeah, I just want this even keel, like, just kind of like, just don't comment, and again, I'm saying something, I teach it to the kids. I can't read that comment. Your logo.
Hey, Richard, that sounds like let's bring it up.
Yeah.
Hey, Richard, that sounds like a good reality show. I wonder if we know anyone who knows anything about reality TV.
Oh, that's true. We probably do know some people. I think Miss Carol Ann's probably got some. It's already been trademarked by Grayson.
Grayson has
trademarked. That was smart, Grayson.
Shoes. Yeah.
Yeah. So Carol Ann, stay close. So if we do need to make the reality show the making of a social network, I like it. Their shoes. And then we buy Grayson out. I don't know if he can be bought out by Taco Bell. See if we can buy Grayson out by some Taco Bell. I've got a lot of cool Batman comics, Grayson. I can give you, like, honestly, no problem. I can get you like 3,000 Batman comics in a second. Just bought a new collection today. So, so I'll just jump to the next news before we get into our ScarJo discussion. Welcome Back Comics did their first major convention in 17, 18 months, a long, long time. November 2019 was our last time we were at a big show, that we weren't at a flea market or just a small hotel show. And we were in, thank you. Well, that's pretty cheap, Grayson. Look, there I am wearing my mask. I want to say we had a nice time. I will personally say I was a little anxious. Seeing the news about how the variant's going and how the variants are affecting people, even if they're vaccinated, maybe a little nervous. I would have liked a few more people to be in masks, but I had my mask on. We didn't hang out at the hotel much. This convention is at Mohegan Sun, which, to give a little plug to Mohegan Sun, Atlantic City could learn a lot from Mohegan Sun, with all respect to Atlantic City. But I mean, Mohegan Sun, if you stay there, you've got a shopping mall, you've got an amusement park, you have a little bit of everything, plus your gambling, plus shows every night and fun things to do. And you don't have to go anywhere. Our buddy Tim, who we often do shows with, he's like, yeah, I pay the extra money because I stay here. I can go eat in one of their 30 restaurants. One negative was the buffet was closed, but that's to be expected and fine. But the biggest point was people were dying to buy comic books again.
That's awesome.
And so we did a decent job. We did okay when we were nervous. We were nervous that who knows, and there were people there. And, at the risk of sounding corny, it was cool to have that kind of connection with, I call them fans, but they're customers too. There was a kid, must have been 7. I don't even know if he was 17 years old, but David and him had like an instant, like, you're looking for this book. Let me help you find this book, and like the kid kept coming back. I say kid, he dropped like $100 on a big set, so we were like, we're not really sure. The only reason I called him a kid is because I was like, oh, dude, follow us on Facebook. And he's like, I don't have Facebook, and so I don't know if that was an age
I'm on
thing.
Instagram,
Yeah,
buddy.
right. So I got to, my cousin Raymond told me a while ago, you need to be on Instagram more and just start tagging yourself. So, but again, it was just neat. It was just neat to kind of see that, that thing where like a customer finds a box of stuff and he's like, oh, this is it. I've been looking for this. And again, it was, we've had a little bit of that over at the flea market, but it was neat to do it in a big setting.
We always say that, right? That it's people. We know how big the nerd community is, the comic community is, and one thing I've noticed. This is just a random thought, but if we watch certain things on YouTube, documentaries about comic book movies, about movies, actors, where they're at, like most of the time, you will see a cut from a convention, and like the fans demand perfection, right? It's a huge community. Everybody's close for the most part, right? There are some disagreements, heated disagreements, but it is a whole different level, right? I've been to the smaller ones with you. I'm trying to get to the bigger ones. Haven't been there yet, but you just feel this energy where, and this is what we're talking about. Like it's not a Facebook township page. It's like you don't know these people, but it's like, oh hey, oh yeah, cool. I have, and it just the conversation could keep going all day.
I'm doing a little PD stuff. I'm taking a little course on racism this week, and I actually wrote like in my bio like, and then I stopped myself because I was like, oh, this is a little too confusing. So, but I said, oh, I'm a comic book dealer. I just did a big convention last week for the first, and I was like, and I stopped this is the part I didn't write. It's phenomenal when you see like, the mixed crowd at the Facebook. There are white people, black people, Hispanics. There are lesbians, gays. Like there's this huge mix of people,
Sure,
and they're all in love with the same concept, and they're in love with fandom. Because there's the anime people, and there's the people that are comic book people. There's people that are movie people. They're in love with the fandom, and you go, but darn well if I made 100 of them sit down and go, hey, let's talk about the Masked Mandate, or hey, let's talk about this. They would be like, but you guys literally are sitting there like showing each other a comic book, like, oh hey dude, who I don't know, like you were just talking about Conan here. I found a Conan comic. Like you watch it. Nobody like I hate that expression. Nobody sees color, but like nobody gives a crap when they're in that moment.
Yeah.
And then, but she's like, why? Like it's just that little kick in the pants reminds you that humanity sucks a little bit, like because they don't get like you guys are all And again, for the most part, like comic book people are pretty cool to each other, and it's neat to see. But but again, it's just so pretending like the reality doesn't exist outside of that bubble. It was neat to be back there and kind of see everybody interacting and being cool thing. And another thing, and if Shanna if she wasn't like 5 seconds behind listening, I think she would chime in and say, Connecticut roads are the worst. But the Connecticut people, they don't ask for bags. They've been very well conditioned. They don't use bags that much. And so they're very socially conscious that way. But also, like, there wasn't a lot of, like, ball busting or, like, oh, you got $6 on that? Like, I'll give you $2. Like, there was not a lot of haggling. And the haggling was done respect, like, oh, hey, that's $60. Will you take 50? Oh, I'll take 55. All right. Again, I'll tell you, New York, as you can probably imagine, like North Jersey, New York, it's not fun.
That's
like,
the name of the game. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's like, I mean, in New York, they'd be like, yeah, that book, you're an idiot for putting $60 in that book. Like, and I'll be like, yeah, well, it's our first show, and I'll be all like, oh, yeah, well.
Shout out to my New York family.
Right. Again, and here's the thing, like they spend money, like, but again, to give props to a New York person, they will spend $600 at your booth, but they will beat you. They will beat you for every penny of that. But yeah, great to be back to the show. We will be heading down to DC in 2 weeks for our next big convention. But they did just announce you're wearing masks, and they're putting up big temperature checker things.
What state is that?
Washington, D.C. It's not a state. They want to be a state, Ryan.
I'm sorry.
They want to be a state. No, it's fine. They want another podcast idea. Why is Washington not a state? Washington, D.C. not a state. They pay taxes, but they don't have representation.
They were like, listen, 200 years from now, we're going to need to do what the hell we want to do. So we're just going to build this little island and call it the District of Columbia.
And you guys are going to judge us for everything we do, and you're going to take our taxes, but You're not going to give us a senator. You're not going to give us a vote on anything. So yeah, we are. Again, we wore masks all this weekend, so we're not too worried. Curious to see what some of the other dealers are because eavesdropping on other dealers throughout the Connecticut show, you could tell they would not be interested in wearing masks, but it's gonna be the name of the game. So hopefully we can get it done. And now I'm a little more nervous about our October show in Baltimore, whether that happens or not.
It's gonna happen.
What'd you say? It is going to happen. You're going to make it.
Yeah,
happen?
it's going to happen because the one thing, and people are like, are they going to start?
The way you said that, I was like, are you going to go around with vaccines and just start giving it to people? I will join you in that one. You hold them down, I'll vaccine them up. So.
I'm gonna be like Robert Muldoon in Jurassic Park, where he's taking apart the shotgun and he's just in the grass, right? People saw me make this motion. Now we're gonna get canceled. But no, the one thing, and people are, like I said, 35 minutes in, people are like, are they gonna start bashing Scarlett Johansson?
This is it.
Yep.
No, we're not
gonna
get to bash. Yeah, we're not gonna bash her. Yeah.
But because the one thing I keep thinking is, if Made in America, which is supposed to be September 3rd, 4th, and 5th, is not canceled. It is not canceled. Nothing is going to be canceled at this point. I mean, that's a blackout week for us at the hotel, meaning nobody's taking off, and we expect to be busy. But there's a couple. What was the one thing that just happened? Lollapalooza in Chicago, that didn't get canceled. So I would imagine that
in a week from now. And I was going to say, I was just about to say, based on how Lollapalooza looked, everybody was on top of it. If they get through without a major issue, or I think that'll make me feel a little better. But looking at those pictures of Lollapalooza, I'm like, I sure hope everybody is vaccinated. But so Black Widow was a good movie.
Black Widow was a very good movie, and we knew. I don't know if we knew, but I felt like there was going to be some controversy because even before it got released, they were debating on theatrical, streaming, both.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But what is this? Hold on, 52 minutes ago. Stand by.
You getting an update?
Yeah. So if you didn't hear by now,
is it Kevin agreed to come on the show finally?
Excuse me. Sorry. If you didn't hear by now, Scarlett Johansson is suing the Disney Corporation for, I guess we're saying, lost revenue, lost income.
Right. She's an executive producer on Black Widow.
She's executive producer on Black Widow. And she is saying that she was told that it would be a theatrical release. Now, I'm sticking with that verbiage because I was not able to find anything that said that there was, you'll be a theatrical with the streaming, right? If that's the verbiage, you got the theatrical release. Now, she's suing because she feels that the streaming impeded on her ability to max out her income. So it has been a huge thing. I love to see what the most clicked articles are that I post on the Oppenheimer Project's Facebook page. The most clicked was Emma Stone's interest in suing Disney, believe it or not. So it was Scarlett Johansson, then Emma Stone. So here we are. Scarlett Johansson is suing Disney, and this, I'm trying to decipher it. Scarlett Johansson's lawsuit and Disney brand carnage. Is CEO Bob Chapek to blame? For those of you that don't know, Bob Chapek is the new CEO replacing Bob Iger. Bob Iger, who's responsible for purchasing everything under the sun, 20th Century Fox, Marvel, Star Wars, and all that good stuff. I don't want to be that guy, but for those of you that don't know, we're trying to bring you some information here on the podcast as well. Things have always been choppy at Disney. It's the most wonderful place in the world. They create great things, great theme parks, great entertainment. There's always been issues behind the scenes with management, and I think that's the case in most places. But I'm hearing that the waters are getting very choppy with Bob Chapek. He feels that Bob Iger has overstayed his welcome. Bob Iger retired right before the pandemic in 2020 and has stayed on to help guide Disney and Bob Chapek to Bob taking over completely. Listen, it's a huge corporation, tons of responsibility. I would imagine that you can't just hand it over. At the same time, if I was Bob, I'd be like, listen, man, you've been here a year. We kind of have to start doing things my way. That's just me, and I don't mean that in like a dictator kind of way, but you got to let them, feel the pressure, feel the chop, feel what goes on when you're the CEO of Disney. but that's what they're saying is CEO Bob Chapek to blame. But Scarlett wants her money. What do you think, Richard?
I really would like to know, and I'm sure we'll get the full story at some point. Did Scarlett want her money, or was Scarlett like, reading a magazine on her, on her porch, and
It was late, right? It was a late,
and then like an agent who was like, and again, I'm just saying speculation. It's just my imagination. You watch enough. Where's Ari Gold from? Ari Gold.
Oh,
Entourage. You watch enough. Ari Gold and and the Don Cheadle movie where he's an agent. You watch enough of these shows, about what these agents do to get that bottom line, to keep that client, and that agent, months ago, years ago when Black Widow was signed, was like, yeah, and we'll get our 5% and you'll get your 3% because look at what Ant-Man made. Ant-Man made $600 million,
right.
So we're going to get, $60 million. So we're going to pay for that new wing of our division. And, and then the movie's going to make maybe a couple $100 million at most. And they're just like, oh, yeah, we're not getting that money we thought we were getting. Hey, Scarlett, I think it's a breach, And listen, also, in terms of their shoes concept, does Scarlett have a case? It's the thing. There's a point. Again, we read the comments and and I think I spoke to you in person about this, Ryan. If not, texting you, you sit there and go, all right, Scarlett. No, I just talked to someone else about this, Ryan. Oh yeah, Scarlett. Scarlett wants her. Yeah, Scarlett. She's just greedy. She wants her money. F Scarlett. Screw her. And then somebody else is like, well, if
Hi, Mom.
Yeah, thank you.
The neighborhood.
Yeah.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Dr. Mom. Sorry. Sorry. But then someone else writes, if roles reversed and somehow she didn't hold up her end of the, Disney would all over be suing her. If she decided,
yeah,
the pandemic means I don't want to do any publicity, they would sue her for, trust me, and that's the thing. That's why there's two sides to every story. It's an offshoot of their shoes Facebook page. But again, there are two sides to every story. Everything, it's interesting. Let's see what Grayson has to say about it.
Yeah, I do want to see. I'm going to pull it up in just a second because in case you didn't know, Grayson and I were roommates in college, and we just clicked right away. We think that we have the same brain, but we're just two different bodies. What I mean by that is I actually was just going to pull up exactly what he's talking about, which is, and I'm just going to use my verbiage. So let's start. Grayson says, what bothers me is Disney's response. They deflect and basically say, how could she file this during these trying times? It seems disrespectful to people. And that's exactly what I was going to pull up. And again, I did when actually I don't apologize. I apologize to no one, but I wanted to use my verbiage from the post, which is Scarlett Johansson is shocked by Disney's response to her lawsuit. Disney says that Johansson, not Johnson. Disney says that Johansson's lawsuit is a callous disregard for the horrific and prolonged global effect of the COVID-19 pandemic. And that to me sounds like a cop-out, and that's where I'll agree with Grayson. What do you think?
Well, yeah, I mean, Disney has kept all their theme parks closed this entire time. They have really cared about people's health, and they've been closed, right?
They were closed for a
little time, but they're still closed, right?
No, they're open. They require masks, but
then they don't. They don't require masks, right? Yeah. So I was being a little sarcastic. Yeah. So they've been open for a while now, and they, and again, yeah, you see it on social media. You require masks if you're not vaccinated, which we all know how that goes. And again, clearly, if they were worried about people, they would have. Yeah, it's interesting, again, if you're worried about people, then you don't put Black Widow out in the movie theater. You just say, hey, Scarlett. Yeah, it was interesting. Also, it's interesting. And we're going to jump in with Kevin's reaction to this in a second. It just seems really poorly handled.
100%.
And this is almost it's almost like how two teenagers react to each other on social media. Nobody took a deep breath here. They saw that she was suing, and then they were just like, yeah, we gotta, I guess their PR people were just off that day, and they were like, "Hey, have Kevin, the new not that Kevin, have the other Kevin, the new intern, have him write up the
Oh
response."
no, I meant Kevin
Yeah,
Feige.
right.
You got the wrong Kevin. You got the
You
intern.
had Kevin, the guy from The Office, write the response, and that's really what it seems like. Like, how dare she? Oh, she's so disrespectful. Like, no, you should just be like, you know, we will work with Miss Johansson and her lawyers to discuss this and figure out how to make that. That's it.
Right.
That's what you say. We will work with that. You know, like to really just
Yeah.
be like try to blow her
You want
up.
to go back and forth over it?
Like, because you're really gonna like. Because again, it didn't make a lot of money, but it was getting a lot of positive critical. You know, you were getting this idea of like, you know, yeah, why attack her? Why, you know, so
And the one thing that I was thinking as I lose my train of thought, but what you were saying was it, it's like I completely forget what I was going to say. I'm not even going to try. But yeah, the whole thing, their response, I just don't get it. Oh, I think that's what I was going to say was that yes, I'm sorry, it's come back to me. So somebody who's an expert in things like these, that's all I can say. I don't know what their exact title is, said that you have to be a very established actor in Hollywood to be able to take on Disney. And he said, and I quote, I can't find it right now, but if I wish I could, I, I promise he said this. He said, because Disney can bury you, and they can. They own Fox, they own Marvel, they own DC. You know, they own everything, and they can just kind of get you black. But you know, I think Scarlett has enough star power to. But it's like, why is it such a battle? Why would Disney want to bury her? Like, she's what, maybe the longest standing Marvel character, and not that it has anything to do with it, but show some sort of respect. Come on, like you have to have some sort of relationship at this point to not make it such an argument. That's just me.
right. And again, we're speaking to again, like this is PR. This is really. I'm sorry. I know it. Way too much stuff happens. We just talked about Matt Damon and Novak Djokovic not being able to handle their their little snafus this week, and yeah, it's just simple PR. And again, I don't particularly love Scarlett Johansson. I some of the stuff she's done with working with Woody Allen has bugged me, but at the same time, you can't make everyone happy here, and this is one where as Dr. Mom was alluding to, this is going to set up a big thing here because you know what, Heath Ledger's estate, Christian Bale, like when Dark Knight came out, there was a shooting. That guy went into that theater in Chicago and shot people.
Yeah,
that affected ticket sales the next week. I'm not doing any of this humorous. The weekend that that snowstorm hit in New York, that the tickets didn't do as good for certain. Like happens all the time. This is obviously the pandemic is something massive, and you didn't have streaming, but the amount of and also I'm saying these comments. There's probably been some lawsuits that we didn't care. No one cared.
Right.
Like somebody sued because like, oh, Fast and Furious was didn't make as much money because of the hurricane, but it just got dismissed or it wasn't a big deal. I think, Scarlet, Black Widow, everything. This was a huge, and again, it's, Emma Stone, which I haven't heard much of since just the one thing. So.
Well, what I was going to say before I rudely cut you off, I'm sorry, was that, and I also think, and you and I have talked about this in a very positive light, was that HBO Max, Disney, they're all like, we've got this idea in the bag, and now Scarlett and Emma,
yeah, it sounds good.
Yeah. Now it's like, you better think twice before you start releasing these films theatrically and on streaming services, right?
I am also just confused as anything as how this wasn't handled beforehand.
Yeah.
Suicide Squad's coming out on Friday. I'm watching it for free on HBO Max.
Hell yeah.
Right, okay. Like I pay my what I'm saying. I pay my $14 a month for HBO Max, or it comes free with my I'm gonna watch it. Like it's just my no one, James Gunn, no one on Suicide Squad, John Cena, Idris Elba, no one's sitting around going, what's this about? Wait, it's going to be on HBO Max and theaters? Like, no one is confused by this, and
Right.
I guess I guess maybe that's going to be the answer with this is Disney and Black Widow were going back and forth, like they weren't quite sure what they were going to do. This week with Jungle Cruise, like you know,
Boom! Look at that synchronization
Yep.
there. And Dwayne Johnson came out and said that he's not going to seek anything. I think Emily Blunt said the same thing, that they're not going to seek lost. We keep
yeah, or
chopping up these words:
or
revenue, income.
yeah, or they're going to do it smart, yeah, or this is their way to say no, we just saw ScarJo get buried, in the court of public opinion. But
And I don't think that anybody should be. Listen, we know Dwayne Johnson is close to perfect. Okay, we get it. He's a good human being. He's always posting messages to children who are not well or families who have lost somebody or are fighting battles. He does a lot for he gives out cash and food and stuff to the crews, and he generally worries about everybody behind the scenes. But to me, you got to watch how you say it, especially in this day and age, because now you kind of make Scarlett look like the bad guy or the bad girl, right? And that's just my take on it.
yeah, I think Drax Dave Bautista weighed in and made her look like the bad guy by
come on.
And again, this is again like we say, like if you don't if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. But okay, also you should be allowed to kind of give your opinion. This is what lets us and about 1 million other people have their like fun little podcasts, is gives us something to talk about. I would be curious though, see with and actually Emily Blunt is up there now as a top tier star. Next time they sit down to do a movie with Disney, they go, hey, we our revenue wasn't great on Jungle Cruise. Yeah.
We need to see a full layout of the release.
Yeah, or hey, here's the deal, like give me 25 guaranteed and I'll sign on. That's
what Dr. Mom just said.
Right. So
it's going to come down to getting money up front.
Yeah. So you know what? I don't know why the logo blocks what you had to say, Dr. Mom, but yeah, that's it. It's going to come down to getting money up front, and that's what and that's what you see. Again, in a much smaller way, I see it at comic book shows all the time because we have celebrities who show up, and you kind of see where like if William Shatner is going to be in DC, okay,
right.
And William Shatner is going to get $50,000 to $100,000 guaranteed money. Like he doesn't have to do a thing.
Right.
If he shows up, he gets $100,000. If he cancels last minute, he still gets the $50,000 because you use his name to advertise him being there. He's got that kind of contract. All right. And then on the other end, Ray Park, who was the stunt actor for Darth Maul,
And what was the lizard guy in X-Men?
Oh yeah, he was Toad, and he was
Toad. Yeah,
he was the first Snake Eyes. Like he's there. Maybe they got him a hotel and a ride from the airport, but he's got to sell every autograph and picture, and hope he can make some money. And it's that idea, like the bigger stars are going to get that. They set up. I don't know. I just felt like telling that story. I don't know if it tied into anything, but it is like that's what you're going to see. You're going to see The Rock. You're going to get 30 million guaranteed to sign on. And again, studios are going to be a little more nervous. Yeah, I've seen this many a time. He would always have fun doing this at shows.
Oh, he does it at the shows.
He does it at shows. Yeah. This is a convention.
For those of you that are listening, this is Ray Park, the legendary Ray Park. Star Wars fans across the world know him as Darth Maul. He is Darth Maul. He did all his own stunts. He's a very experienced martial artist and stunt actor. Obviously still in shape, doing great, awesome things. He loves what he does, loves the character. And as you can see, the fans just love him. Look at him. Go nuts. Love Ray Park.
It's been a few years since he's been at a show, but you would know, because you would see everybody kind of hustle to the back.
He's doing it.
Right. Yeah. It was always pretty cool. So, and from all my little experience, very cool guy too. So again, but that's a guy who might walk out with $6,000-$7,000 from just sitting there, busting his butt, signing autographs, posing with pictures, and that's my point is, are people going to lose out here because now you're like, we can only afford to pay Rock on this. We can't take risks. Listen, knock on wood, with a few more vaccinations and a few more things, we're back to normal. I was hoping we weren't talking about things like this, We are. We have to continually talk about these things because we have to get La Fagata to sponsor us. This is brought to us by La Fagata,
What's La
Mexican
Fagata?
restaurant. That's the Mexican restaurant we ate at.
Oh, our first date.
Yeah, and then
where we invited Monica and Shanna.
And then we they threw in some free drinks. I was trying to cut out on my juices, but Jocelyn threw in a few free drinks.
So I had a question for you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So people are I think we both had different ideas, but that's the fun of podcasts is that you just let the conversation roll. And this has been a fabulous conversation, and we'll let it keep running for a few more minutes, 10, 50, whatever.
4 minutes.
We'll see. 4 minutes is good. And I was just going to ask with the Scarlet thing that's going on and Emma going on, I had in mind that we would be, discussing like, are these actors overpaid? Do they have a right? And I was actually going to circle back to the whole thing we always talk about with the Oscars.
Yeah, right.
But I was thinking, when I was talking to Monica about this, I was like, listen, if it was anybody who's like, oh, Scarlett's just showing her character, dude. If it was their 20 million or whatever that somebody held out on, listen, I'd be like, listen, we need to talk about this, right? It's $20 million. Right. Anybody would want it back. What do you think?
Right. No, if Monica and I got paid $50 to do chaperone the dance, we get paid $50 to chaperone the dance. And then, this year they go, you know what, guys, we're going to pay you $20 to chaperone the dance. Like, we would legit be like, F this noise, chaperone your own dance. Like, and I'm not even teasing us. Like, that's what we would do. Like, yeah, no, we'll pass. Like, yeah, you're good.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you throw in $20 million and then, and again, that is something, I always remember Howard Stern talking about this. Like, it would hit the news. Howard Stern signs new $500 million 3-year contract, and then people would just like, dude, like, you signed a $100 million contract. Like, what are you complaining about? And he would be like, and at some point, I think he got so angry, he revealed this nugget. He's like, that $500 million is my show. And then Robin gets something. And then Fred everybody's
$500 million.
Everybody's getting paid out of it. Now he's getting a nice chunk, he's getting a nice chunk of that,
100%.
and he's not hurting or anything, but like the idea is like, and then he's that money's then I'm using, like, you can see my hand, like, producers on the show are getting paid. Like, it's the funnel down, and with Scarlett, when I was talking earlier about her agents and her publicists and stuff like that. Yeah. And her, maybe that's what her talkback was like. I was expecting at least 40 million out of this instead of 20 million, and I've got these people who were counting on, the money. That's
a big one.
And again, listen, it's a possibility. Is it, was she sitting there with her super white husband going, oh, I would like to buy an island? I don't know. And again, and here's the point. We go full circle with this. If she wants an extra $20 million because she wants to buy an island, to put a house, to raise peacocks, like,
with her money that she earned.
Yeah, that's up to her. You're never going to make everyone happy. I made $400 this weekend selling comic books. I gave $95 to Shanna for like something she was raising money for, and yeah. And then, but again, I could have given, but then someone will complain like, oh, you could have given to my charity. You could have given to, like, someone will have a problem with it, And again, as Carol Ann's saying, yeah, like, that's another thing that really, not to go this way. Yeah. Or she's a woman who, she's a woman and an actor who understands her worth, and like, yeah, like Black Widow starring nobody, like just the other people, like would not have done what it did. She made Black Widow what to tie into her earlier Robert Downey Jr. part, she became Black Widow. Wonder Woman is Wonder Woman,
And nobody's complaining about Robert Downey Jr. having llamas in his backyard. I mean that sincerely. Like, people, right. if that's their money that they earn, do it. I don't care what you do. What am I going to? I mean, obviously people will say, well, did Robert Downey Jr. need to have llamas? Robert Downey Jr. holds llamas hostages in his house. It's like,
yeah,
Robert Downey Jr. bought llamas with his money that he earned. That's
because he
wanted
played
do.
Dr. Dolittle and he needed that character work. So yeah, but again, Scarlett is, I don't know. It's funny. We do this thing when we read People magazine. We're like, I've seen Scarlett on Saturday Night Live. She's really funny and relatable. Like I'll say that about Peyton Manning. Like, oh, they seem like really good. Like she could be a POS. She could be a nudge. She could be a lot of things. But and this comes down to the Esquire part of Dr. Mom is like, yeah, but like if the contract says that's what she's due, that's what she's due. Yeah, that's the thing. You go into work tomorrow and you're supposed to work this time to this time. You're going to work this time to this time. So, yeah, and Caroline's making another great point that I did see that, you can invite. And you know that actually Disney Plus actually has, I could click like watch party.
You can watch it together. Yeah.
I can click watch party and invite you. Which again is a cool option. Like you're going to spend $30. That's
especially during the pandemic.
Yeah, that's and again also like I didn't do this personally, but I know people who'll be like, oh yeah, here's my Disney Plus password, you can use it. Like there are a bunch of reasons that this doesn't work, and again it's why whenever like, oh, Netflix is trying to knock down how many people can use your password. Yes, because they're a business.
It's a business. Yeah,
it's a business. It sucks. It sucks when we couldn't all share the same Netflix password, but it's a business, and not to sound too like. I can't wait to see. I'm really curious to see how this, because this is big. This is, because I think it says that. I was struggling for the word precedent. It'll set that precedent that then people will be able to use, going forward when a big snowstorm on the East Coast throws off your opening weekend, and you can be like, well,
early release to Disney Plus via streaming,
right?
$30.
But there's other things too that happen where you're just like, it's just not testing well, and let's not throw it out there and put big, let's throw Turner.
Let's take Clifford off the list.
Right. Let's take Clifford off the list because, we think of Clifford coming out. So it'll be interesting again with Eternal. Like I'm really excited about a Shang-Chi Eternals. Assuming a Spider-Man thing, but but again, now is Tom Holland's lawyer on, and an agent on the phone, right now.
Bob Chapek's at the table. Like, listen, guys, I got bigger things to worry about than Scarlet. Okay, I need to get the Spider-Man trailer out.
You guys are holding us back here.
Where are we with that?
Also, tell Tom Holland that if we do a dual release, we'll take care of him.
Tell the kid to sit down.
Tell him, right. He's all good. I don't know.
No. Yeah. So, real quick, I'm just gonna click this. We'll make it quick. So we didn't get too much into the political side of things, but Scarlett Johansson, my final thoughts is if she's owed the money, give it to her. That's where I'm at.
Yeah. Same. I mean, same. Sorry. Same as in get this.
Thank you, Caroline.
Oh, thank you, Caroline. Get this. This is a due. I think I'm using the word right. This is a due. This is Figure it out. Read the contract. Figure out. Do the right thing, because this is not. Her going, oh, I'm actually failing to come up with the example, but we know plenty of examples of things where oh, I didn't think it was going to be that successful, I want to get, all right. I want to get in. No, this is not, this is just, again, if the courts say, no, based on her contract, and this is the tough one where, like I said earlier, to kind of repeat, this should have been handled in-house. This should not have been
up.
I mean, the most they could have come out is
giving us content.
Yeah, the most. Yeah, right. The most they should have. Yeah, it should have maybe not. Honestly, it should not even have been a news bullet, let alone a whole topic. Because
big one.
Because it should have been Scarlett and Disney discussing how to handle the profits from the show. Like that's it. Like based on the they're discussing it. So so we will see, and and again, and when the news breaks, we will bring it to you here on the Ryan Mercer with Richard Masso podcast.
We will bring it back to you. So everybody, have a great week. We will see you next week. I'm not putting together great words for this exit here, but
No,
it was a very fun podcast, Richard.
I understood what you were going. I understood what
do.
you were going for. So.
But
Yeah,
yes,
thanks.
we had a great time, and we will see everybody next week. Don't forget to follow us on the Oppenheimer Project's Facebook page, and you can also check out our website www.theoppenheimerprojects.com, our YouTube channel, The Oppenheimer Projects. All these episodes, you get to see our beautiful faces there. If you go to YouTube, they go right to YouTube after this. And the podcast itself, give us a like and follow. That helps us out a lot. We'll see everybody next week. Bye bye.
Have a good week.